Good morning, my dear friends. Welcome back to my YouTube channel Medical Classes by Dr. Srinidhi Kumar Acharya. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and also please give your valuable comments. You can also visit the playlist. In the playlist, I have provided almost all the topics in a very systematic order, which is quite convenient for the study. You can make use of it. My dear friends, since last so many classes we are discussing about pediatric holistic care. And in that part we already covered about 14 portions, and today we will going to cover the last portion, that is super ego. In the last class we have seen that how the interaction between the family members and as well as instinct drives of the child leads to the development of the ego. This ego may be a positive ego or it may be a negative ego. That depends upon how good or how healthy environment you are providing to the baby, and how conducive environment you are providing to the baby, how smoothly and lovably and with compassion and all you are talking to the baby. Now today we will discuss about the next part of this ego, how this ego will going to change into super ego. So that part we will discuss today. So first of all, you have to understand what you mean by super ego. As a child grows in the society, now okay, we have discussing this part since the fetal stage itself. Fetal stage is over, the Urda stage is over, delivery is over. After delivery, the first part of the life, that is over, neonatal and infantile period is over. Now child is ready to move in the society, maybe in the 4th year, 5th year or 6th year onwards. Now as a child grows in the society, he is gradually understand the code of conduct to be followed in the society when he moves in between. The code of conduct and disciplinary method. He also understands the code of conduct and disciplinary method. A 5-year-old baby or 4-year-old baby, a child, so initially when he start moving in the society, after the family environment, when he start going beyond the family environment, now he understands some of the rules of the social living, which was very new to him. Okay, so he gradually understands the code of conduct to be followed in the society. When he is going to the school, in the school he will be imposed with certain disciplinary methods and rules and regulation, code of conduct, etc. Actually these rules and regulations were new to the growing kid, but he is exposed to that. Okay, he understands some of the disciplinary methods, and even in the home environment also he understands some of the disciplinary methods as he grows up. Okay, so now his drives, the instinct drives which is previously present in the form of the ego, now they are exposed to these social rules and regulations. So which is right, he understands which is right, which is wrong, which has to be done. If I do this, it is acceptable. If I do this, it is not acceptable. So this primary knowledge primary knowledge he will going to gain during these 3 years. He also understands the value system and the ideals, etc. So this particular personality that a child develops after when he is exposed to the social life, okay, or the social environment, where he is imposed to such certain strict rules and regulations and code of conduct, that personality which emerges out of it, so that is called a superego. That means now child's the primary drives, so they are not exposed to the social life, okay, social code of conduct, rules, disciplinary methods, etc., or moral values, etc. So the personality which come out of this, that is called as superego. Okay, this is called as superego. Now the development of the proper powerful superego is also very important for the inculcation of the holistic properties in the child, because this matters very much in future. Okay, so now Ayurveda follows the unique method of developing a proper superego. So Ayurveda always advocates that educate the child as per the order or the class to which he belongs at the befitting age. Suppose which class he belongs to, maybe the Brahmana, Vaishya, Kshatriya, etc. Although the meaning of this Brahmana and Kshatriya is different. So what that means, so when he follows the same rules and regulation which has been followed in his family by his ancestors, okay, so that code of conduct he has to continue. Therefore Ayurveda is telling that, so always educate the child as per the order or the class. So for better construction of the ego, he should always taught any child, for the better construction of the ego and as well as superego, child should be always taught with the moral values, that is told as dharma yacha, okay, and moral obligations, so many moral obligations. Similarly, vinaya, that is of performing one's own duties in the society, dharma yacha vinaya yacha. So that means Ayurveda is telling that as the child is growing, he has to inculcate these properties in the child. Okay, this helps for the proper development of the super ego. The great importance has been given in the Indian books for this particular property, where the teaching the child in the right path is for the better construction of the ego and the super ego. Now, many times the mother teaches so many disciplinary values, the father teaches so many disciplinary values. When he is exposed to the school, there he is exposed to some of the code of conduct and disciplinary morality, etc. So, this particular part has to be dealt very, very carefully. And if there is any a problem during this phase, the development of the super ego part is not up to the mark, or it may be very bad, so which has got a very bad impact of the to the child in future. Now again, how to develop the super ego? The child who is the upholder and virtuous is the upholder of the religion, good value, is the upholder of the fame also. So in the developing ego, mother plays a vital part in the developing. So we have got ego and super ego. So when we talk ego, as already discussed, mother has got a greater part. Whereas when we talk about super ego, it is told that in Ayurveda that father plays a vital part. Okay, father plays in the super ego. That means when the child is moving in the society, then implication of the code of conduct and as well as some of the strict rules and regulations, moral values, etc. More than the mother here, father comes to play. Okay, so father is told that father is responsible for the crimes of the child. In future, if the child commit any crimes, or that person in its adolescence, parents or adulthood, if he commit any crimes, it is told in Ayurveda that it is responsibility of the father. Father is accountable for that. So when the child has to take the food, now what are some common rules and regulations that we used to follow? When the child has to take the food, it should be taught that should be taken from the right hand. See, this is how the super ego, you go on developing the super ego of the child. So child can take the food from the both hands, but it's not like that. You have to implement the code of conduct there. Okay, so when child has to take the food, in which position he has to sit, from which hand he has to take the food. Okay, so he has to take the food with all the family members. He should not spill out the food. Okay, so this is how the child has to be taught with these disciplinary methods. Similarly, when he has to speak, or how he has to speak, when he has to speak, how smoothly he has to speak. Okay, what are the words that has to be used when he is speaking to the elders? What are the words, pattern of speech when he is talking to his friends? This point has to be made clear to the child, because this is how the super ego of the child develops properly. Similarly, toilet training, during the same period, the toilet training also comes. So that has to be practiced. So how you have to clear your excretas, and you have to wash your hands, what are the methods and all. Then the interaction with the society should be encouraged. A child should be always encouraged with the interaction with the society members, different members. Okay, it may be teachers, it may be friends, or it may be some neighbors. So we have to always encourage, because this helps to develop the social relationship and helps to develop a very good super ego in the future. Like these group properties should be cultivated. All these factors have been very well explained in Ayurveda and also some of the Indian philosophy books. Further, it is told that at 6 years they are taught with the numbers and names of the cardinal points. At 7 years, one has to be conscious about the sex. And this is also very important. So male and female sex, although there is no differentiation, but as far as super ego is concerned, there are certain rules and regulations that male has to follow, certain rules and regulations because of female has to follow. So because these things are very important for the future. Okay, boys and girls are not allowed to occupy the same mat or same bench and sit and eat together. Okay, at 8 years they are required to follow the elders. They are taught to obey the teaching of the elders. At 9 years they are taught the number of the days. Like for example, at 9 in Ayurveda it is told that at the age of 8 years usually Upanayana Samskara has been done. Usually at the age of 5 years Vidyarambha Samskara has been done. Okay, previously there is one more reference, at the age of the 5 years we'll go for Vedharambha Samskara. Okay, Vedharamba Samskara. It is also called as Vidhyaramba Samskara or Vedharamba Samskara at the age of 5 years. Another reference is at the age of 3 years we would go for Akshara Lekana Samskara. That is numbering. Nowadays what we are talking about, straight line, cross line, and then upward line, downward line, and slant lines, and numbering. So Ayurveda says that it has to be started in the 3rd year of the life, and that samskara has been called as a Akshara Lekana Samskara. Okay. So further in Upanayana Samskara, usually at the age of 8 years, when Guru Bala of the child is good. Now Upanayana Samskara is one of the best method of inculcation of the super ego in the child. During the Upanayana Samskara, it is not simply a threading ceremony, it is also the initiation of the education, okay, according to Ayurveda. After Upanayana Samskara, child will be sent to the education. Now in that time, child will be given with so many moral values. Child will be given a strict instruction what he has to follow, what he should not follow. So there's a big list. If you go through the mantras related to Upanayana Samskara, the things are very clear. Okay, you should not throw stone to the stone towards any animals. You have to look everything with mercy. You should not scold anybody. You should give the respect to the elders, and you should get up in the proper time in the early morning, sleep in the proper time. So many moral values, social values will be taught to the child during the time of the Upanayana Samskara, and then he will be sent to the education. Okay, this is one of the important stage as for Ayurveda where the super ego of the child will be properly developed. Now further, by the 10th year, if you look into the 10th year, the boy is sent to the master, as I told, outside to stay with him for a night and learn the polite conversation. Now usually as a rehearsal, we can say, before sending the baby or the child to the education after Upanayana. So one day the child will be stays with a master outside the home environment, and he will be taught how to learn the polite conversation. At the age of the 13, they are able to learn the music, dance, and repetition of the stanzas, etc. Then he learns the archery and the chariot. These are the references I am telling. At the age of 20, by the 30, he will have a wife, and then similarly for the girl, child teaching will be different in those days, and one must not sit on the same coach where the superior occupy the seat. See, these are all the moral values. What we say, achara rasayanas and all. So he should rise, meet and superior and salute him like this. How to respond when somebody meet? See, these are all the different factors which is mentioned in Ayurveda and Indian philosophical books regarding development of proper super ego in the child. Okay, how to respond when somebody meet, like Brahmin, then you should ask about the Kushalata, then Kshatriya, Anamaya, then Vaishya, Kshema, and Shudra with the Anarogya. So it is told that following the adharma, unrightfulness, will not produce the effect immediately, but advancing slowly, though not be offender himself, the punishment falls on his son or the grandson. This is a very important factor which is mentioned. Now suppose if you are committing a mistake, okay, if you are following some adharma, okay, so by the time when you are doing that adharma, it may not give any quick results. You are following the adharma, basically you should get the bad effect or a bad result for that. But many times it may not be an instantaneous effect. Okay, that effect may be a later. Slowly it may comes to you. Suppose if you commit the mistake in the 20th year, so you may get the result at the age of 60th year. If you are committing the mistake in the childhood period, you may get that result, bad result for that at the age of the 30 years. But one thing is very clearly told in Ayurveda and also in Indian philosophy, Upanishad and all, once you are committing any adharma, definitely karma phala you will going to get that for that. It may be very sudden, it may be slowly, or it may be very progressive in the later part of the life. Suppose if you are not getting that particular bad result in this life by you, definitely for your son or grandson, the effect of that adharma will be there. Definitely your son or grandson will going to suffer. This is very clearly told, and so golden words which is told, karma phala. Okay, so many times we commit so many mistakes and we'll be happy I am not getting any bad results, but definitely the next generation will going to suffer. So this is very clearly told, and many times see, father and mother, they're absolutely normal, healthy, but child is suffering from so many chromosomal problems, child is suffering from familial disorders. Okay, so these are nothing but karma phala of the parents, which is coming to the next generation. So that has been mentioned very clearly in Ayurveda. So a mistake committed will not go back, without paying or showing its effect. Write it in golden words. Mistake that is committed will not go back without paying or showing its effect, maybe in this generation or maybe in the next generation. Hence, inculcating the moral values is very important. Hence, whenever we talk to somebody, whenever we do some that means bad things to somebody, okay, when you talk very harshly or when you cause annoyment to somebody, think twice, not twice, 10 times you think whether this particular act will going to give the good result or bad result. If it is giving a bad result to somebody, you will going to get the bad effect for that, maybe instantaneously, or maybe later, or maybe in the next generation. That is 100% right. Okay, so this is what they are telling. Therefore, development of the super ego with the inculcation of the moral values is very, very important for the children. So this is all about the super ego, and this is all about the development of holistic properties in the developing child. Okay, in a growing child rather. So with this we complete this particular series. Thank you very much. From the next class we will start with another important topic. Thank you very much.